Live from the Ram Cave, I'm Joe Tarosian, and this is RamView, the September 9th, 2022 edition, brought to you by Temple City Auto Repair. If you're having some auto trouble, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. Well, we told you, didn't we? You didn't click on yesterday. Hardly anybody clicked on, but we told you, okay? We said the Rams were going to struggle last night. It's obvious they were going to struggle. They were playing against a more desperate team. The Rams got their ring. They're playing in the AFC. Buffalo had something to prove. They needed to make a statement. And the Rams, well, I was thinking of a movie analogy. A couple of them came to mind. One was the movie Aliens, right? And you might not remember the movie Aliens. It is the best of the series of alien movies. And the colonial Marines are going to go in and fight the aliens, and they're very confident. And Vasquez says, hey, man, I only need to know one thing, where they are. And I'm sure the Rams were feeling very much like that. And then by the time the third quarter came around, Sean McVay was crying into his radio saying, talk to me, Stafford. Stafford, talk to me, because they just got ambushed. And yeah, it happened, and it's not the end of the world. That's the thing. It's like you watch the boards, you watch all the things that are going on, and everyone thinks, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world as we know it. And the Rams fans aren't feeling fine. It's hard to see. So let's get a couple things cleaned up, just right in order, things as I made notes and then interjected a few things. Let's look at, of course, it's not the end of the world. You have to know that it's not the end of the world. And we're not going to start a Fire Raheem Morris hashtag or anything like that, right? So let's get things cleaned up. First, I'm anti-Rock. Get the Rock out of there. Can't stand the Rock. Can't stand him. I mean, he wants to be in Hollywood movies. That's great. He wants to be another superstar in the Marvel or DC universe. Fantastic. Great. He wants to give his smoldering intensity in a Jumanji movie. Beautiful. Great. I have no problem with him there. He wants to vote one way and that way. I have no problem. He's going to do what he's going to do. But for my football team, I just don't want the Rock around. I don't want that stupid, dumb butt time for football to start and all that. Ugh. I hate it because it's the Hollywooding, and I mean the Hollywooding of a team that doesn't reflect Hollywood and the way it goes about its business, or the way it's gone about its business. The Rams, for being LA's team, are not necessarily the Showtime Lakers. They're just not. You don't see stuff with the Rams. They just go about their business, and it's just the antithesis. You got a blue collar team with a lot of talent that goes about its business, and then when you get all that Hollywood crap in there, it's just ridiculous. It's not a good marriage. And so get rid of the Rock. It brings bad mojo. I am a believer in sports mojo and sports karma. And I think just the Hollywooding of this franchise and all that stuff is bad mojo. Also, how bad is the state of rock and roll that you got to bring out Ozzy Osbourne, right? I was going to say Ozzy Newsome. How bad is it, right? Please, you got to open the crypt to bring him out. I thought it was Tales from the Crypt. Honestly. Right? Is that how bad rock and roll is? You got to bring in Ozzy Osvaldo? It's over. Please, let's move on. All right, so I'm online last night, and I'm in a private conversation with loyal RamView follower Coach K. And we shared and agreed, and I wasn't going to say anything at first because it sounds very fanboy, but we shared and agreed that the Rams looked like they needed a preseason game. They just did. And you're thinking, hey, well, they haven't done that in the whole McVay era, and they've been to 2 Super Bowls. And I'm thinking recent history is it's one thing to open the season against the Chicago Bears and with no preseason for your starters. It's another thing to open your season with no preseason for your starters against the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills, they're the homie don't play that of the NFL. They're just not gonna roll over and die like the Bears did. Okay, they're not bringing out Andy Dalton. They're bringing out Josh Allen, right? And so I still agree with the Rams thing, and I'm okay with the loss, folks. I am more than okay with the loss. It's the rest of the season that we're worried about. I'm worried about week 4 against Frisco, week 3 against the Cardinals. So this game is not the end of the world. And if that's the way the plans go, then beautiful. I could lose week one every year that McVay's there. I'm good with it. It's okay, because in the end, it doesn't really matter. Okay, this is a 17 game season, and that game was like a preseason game for the offense last night. It looked bad. It wasn't pretty. Gives you a lot to gripe about, but it doesn't really affect the overall budget of your season, so to speak. You're going to lose 5 games, maybe 6 this year. Just win those division games. Win in the NFC. Regarding, let's just start running around. We're not doing a hashtag fire Raheem Morris. Last year, this team started very slow defensively, and it started slow last night. But I did have a question that I put to Coach K. I said, do we have any corners in this game? Right? Do we have any corners in this game? 5 to 7 yard cushions, even at the goal line. It's like, is anyone going to come up and play press? Is anyone? And I'm wondering, what is Jalen Ramsey doing? Right? He's sometimes he's not coming up and playing press. He gave Diggs. He gave Diggs how much of a cushion there? Stephon Diggs, how much of a cushion did he give him? And still got caught either looking in the backfield or misread and got torched on that final touchdown, that bomb. Right? How much space did he give him? And sometimes Jalen Ramsey, I know this is going to be heresy. He's a great player. I really like him. But the last few times towards the end of last season and right now, he's got a bit of the Marcus Peters in him, where it's truly, and that Marcus Peters is an elevated Janoris Jenkins, and Jalen Ramsey is an elevated Marcus Peters. So for right now, he's a feast or famine guy. He's gambling too much. And I really didn't like what we saw out of Jalen Ramsey last night in coverage. I didn't like anything the Rams did in coverage. When Stephon Diggs, when they scored at the goal line, I'm like, he runs the inside route. And I said, do you really give him that much space? And of course, Nick Scott is standing in the end zone, and maybe he should have been up further, but Troy Hill was standing there, and they just turned right in, and it was easy pickings for Josh Allen. The team was blowing up at the line of scrimmage. And while they got their turnovers, courtesy of the Buffalo Bills, they didn't blow anybody up. Did you notice all the times they kind of came up and laid a hit? But when they laid that hit, they were also pushed back. And I think some of that is edge. I think some of that is eye of the tiger. I think some of that is you've had a couple of preseason games or you haven't had a couple of preseason games. And I'm not advocating that the Rams players play in the preseason. I'm just saying this is what you have to expect when you play a quality team like Buffalo instead of Chicago. I thought it was real interesting that Buffalo never punted. Never, not once last night. I was looking at the defensive snaps. Taylor Rapp at 59, Nick Scott 52, Jordan Fuller 17 to 18 snaps, depending on what site you want to read. Scott graded out the best at an 85, but he had some issues. Taylor Rapp at 62 and Taylor Rapp 66, Jordan Fuller 62. These are the PFF grades, and they are subject to change after the opening night, but just throwing them out there what they saw because they kind of match up with what we saw. Terrell Burgess did not get a snap. And, of course, Russ Yeast, we didn't expect him to get a snap either at safety. At corner, the best graded Rams corner was Troy Hill, 76.5. The worst graded was Jalen Ramsey, right? So that was pretty interesting. And Troy Hill was best in coverage. David Long was at 58, Jalen Ramsey at 54. And here was the other interesting thing. Besides their softness, Robert Rochelle did not play a snap on defense last night. It's like, whoa, not even a rotation, not even a sub out, not even a blow, not even a breather. Robert Rochelle did not play a snap on defense, let alone the rookies, Kendrick and Durant. Bobby Wagner was respectable, but he was less than 60% in coverage. And I think if he's going to be the off-ball linebacker, he's got to give you a little bit more than that. He dominated the snaps compared to Ernest Jones when they went into different packages. On offense, Darrell Henderson got the start. Cam Akers was an afterthought, and Kyrene Williams. Well, if that's the only injury the Rams had after last night, and they got pummeled pretty good, if Kyrene Williams' high ankle spring is the only injury, and he's out 6 weeks, and the Rams got away cheap last night. Darrell Henderson, 13 rushes, 5 catches, so he had 18 touches, and that's a real good number for him. You don't want him getting more than 20 touches a game. But Cam Akers, boy, he looked like a real afterthought. He didn't look like part of the offense. He looked like Cam go in there because Darrell needs a blow. And so that part was really interesting how that's playing out. going forward. Darrell Henderson does not look like the back he was in 2019 or even 2020. He looks heavier and stronger, which there were some plays last night he needed to be. But I had this memory, and I'll take correction. But didn't he have a certain pizzazz or a little hop in his game? He seems much more of a Sammy Winder plotter. He's going to do what he needs to do, which is great. But he doesn't seem to break away. Like he wouldn't have the ability to break away because he's carrying the extra poundage. Anyway, I digress. I am Joe Terosian, and at the 10-minute mark, this is RamView, and you can catch me on YouTube and iHeart. I'm told Odyssey and definitely Spotify. Subscribe, like, leave a comment. Bro, help a guy out. Had my worst day yesterday in terms of numbers and clicks. And I'm also a writer. You can find me at joeterosian.com. But I've written several books. You can find them on Amazon, including a couple of high school novels and some explicitly Christian novels, as my other job is. I'm a pastor at a small church in Burbank at Burbank Faith Virtual Online. All right. I think I got that stuff in there. Great. Loyal RamView follower, Gary Downtown Brown, is right. Cooper Kupp hasn't missed a beat. And it looks like Kupp and Matthew Stafford spent a year together and won a Super Bowl together. Because their connection was just fine. Kupp had 15 targets, 13 catches, a touchdown. Yeah, we know what Cooper Kupp is. I was watching the touchdown throw. When that ball left Stafford's hands, I thought for sure that's out of the back of the end zone. And Kupp gets 3 feet down, and it's a touchdown. Really interesting. But they played together. Allen Robinson got 2 targets. He was the big free agent signing, right? Allen Robinson got 2 targets and 1 catch. That's it. And that second target came on 4th and 14 at the end of the game. And it was just lobbed up because it was supposed to be a 50-50 ball, but the pass wasn't good enough to really, it was more like 70-40, 70-30 defense. Ben Skoranek had 6 targets. He had 3 times the targets that Allen Robinson had, and 4 catches, so good for Skoranek. Tyler Higbee had 9 targets, 5 catches, and a nice big fat drop. And then the thing that was really, really interesting, Tutu Atwell only played 7 snaps. He only had 1 target and no catch. I mean, really? I'm a believer in Tutu. I think you got to give Tutu a shot, but are they going to play him? What's his role? Does he get a shot? Tutu Atwell had the same number of targets that Brandon Powell had, and Brandon Powell had a 10-yard catch. He also had a 3-yard run, and he played 4 snaps. So in one sense, Brandon Powell, the team's kick returner, had more of a part of the offense than Tutu Atwell did. So that's something to think about. And, of course, everyone hates the Rams' offensive line today. Don't hate the offensive line. It's early. The Bills are a good team. The offensive line has not played together. And look what they did. They played the good news is no one got hurt. They played all 67 snaps. That's good. And that'll build. They get Atlanta next week. It's like another tune-up before the season really begins. But no, the right side of the line was average. Rob Havenstein graded out these are overall grades, which are subject to change on PFF. Rob Havenstein, 64, Coleman Shelton, 67, Brian Allen, 67. But in pass protection, Rob Havenstein, who just got paid, graded out at 51. Brian Allen at 48. Not good, not optimal. That's the reason why you give up 7 sacks. On the left side of the line, Dave Edwards was horrific. 39.4 overall. He had a miserable night. And in pass protection, he was 6.9. Okay. 39 overall and only 6.9. He was almost non-existent in pass protection last night. And he's a Super Bowl champion. He's a veteran returning. And Joe Noteboom was 59 overall. He was only 44.7 in pass protection. And I'm wondering something with Edwards a little bit, although he's played alongside Noteboom. Every time Noteboom has played well. Noteboom has not just filled in for a quarter. Noteboom is filled in for stretches of games. So you can't say Joe Noteboom can't play, okay? Had a rough game last night, not a very good game. But the part about Edwards' numbers being so low is I'm wondering, after playing alongside Havenstein, I'm not playing alongside Whitworth, that maybe that adjustment of having Noteboom on his left instead of Andrew Whitworth on his left was affecting David Edwards a little bit. We saw some of those spin moves. Was it Jordan Phillips? Some of those spin moves coming off in the left guard spot that Edwards was just completely bamboozled on. In fact, I looked over at Dwayne Barker from Mid-Valley Sports, and I just kind of just told him, I said, Edwards got a Super Bowl ring. He can't give up plays like that, but he sure did. This game is not the game to panic over, okay? Loyal RamView follower Paul Kistler agrees with me when he says, I'd rather lose this one and beat Frisco, and he's right. This game is not the one that matters. The Rams will need a series or two to get going next week against Atlanta, but they're going to get going. And I really wouldn't panic unless they lose to Arizona or San Francisco. Then you can panic. Then you can get worked up. Then you can start saying, he sucked. I mean, I was fielding McVay should be fired. Stafford should go back to Detroit. This is the worst offensive line in history. You'd seem to forget that we won a Super Bowl last year. That part's just amazing. The Rams won a Super Bowl, right? In regards to the Bills, great. You looked good. Stephon Diggs, my fantasy team. I had the Rams defense and Stephon Diggs last night for my fantasy team. But note to Buffalo, are you crazy? Or is Josh Allen just not listening, right? Why are you calling or allowing him to run the ball repeatedly and get hit? Now, I would have done it if I'm Sean McDermott, if I'm the coach of the Bills. I'd have pulled Josh Allen. I'm up 30. I'm up 23 touchdowns. I'd have pulled him off to the side and said, sit your butt down. Every time and I already got the game out of doubt, every time you run with the ball when you're not supposed to run the ball and you take a hit and he never slides, I'm telling him you're benched for the series. You gotta get that across to him. While he's a better thrower, a more accomplished passer than Cam Newton, if he keeps running this way and taking the hits he's going to hit, and he's going to get and repeatedly get smashed, you're not going to have him for very long, and he's going to be sacrificing what could be a great career. And he could be sacrificing or playing Russian roulette with your Super Bowl season. And if he goes down, do you really think Case Keenum is going to step in and fill his place, right? So note to Buffalo. I love Josh Allen, great player, right? But you better get a handle on him because and talk to Dorsey. You should not be running these designed plays for him anywhere but inside the 10-yard line. Just don't expose him that way. Inside the 10, use him as the weapon he is. But in between the 20s, goodness gracious, don't call designed runs for one of the best, if not the best quarterback in the league right now. It's preposterous. I mean, and you don't need to be Nostradamus. And I don't want to hear, well, Joe, they know more than you. No, I'm watching the game. You've watched the game. We've seen a whole history of quarterbacks like this. They end up going down at some point or their careers are short-circuited. Just saying, all right? Don't hate the Bills. And I'm not panicking about the Rams. Looking forward to the start of the season on Sunday. And that's about it. I think that's it, right? We got it. Got it. Dak Prescott rolled an ankle, I was just told. And it looks like he'll be playing but hurting when game time rolls around against Tampa Bay. Looking forward to these football games and the season. So again, as Ram fans, don't panic. Don't start hashtag fire Raheem Morris. Don't start hashtag fire Sean McVay. Don't listen to my friend out in Missouri, Rob Sorge, saying, "Oh, the Rams are paying the bill now. They know what they're going to have to understand what it means to defend a title because everyone in Pittsburgh knows how. No one in Pittsburgh knows how it's a title. Pittsburgh got its last title 14 years ago, and they still haven't defended it. I got to hear about their competitiveness. This was a preseason game. This was the bonus preseason game for the Rams. Give them a chance to get their feet under them. Give Stafford a chance to get in sync with Allen Robinson. Give this offensive line an opportunity to play 200 snaps together and develop as a unit. I am curious about the corners. I am curious about the safeties. I am curious about Tutu Atwell. But you know what? Getting the Super Bowl for the first time in 2 decades and more buys you a lot of credit extension. So the Rams got an extension of credit, and they're in good shape. So they can go into a little bit of emotional debt with us, and we're going to be okay because we've seen what this team can do. We've seen what McSneed can do. We've seen what Stafford can do. Now, sometimes Stafford does suffer from PDTS, post-traumatic syndrome, but he's going to be okay, and the Rams are going to be okay. All right, great. That's the blurb. That's the show. Hit like, subscribe, leave comments. I don't care if you disagree. That's okay. I just need some action. Yesterday was very disappointing, but hey, people got stuff to do. Joe Terosian, this is RamView. We'll be back very, very soon. God bless. Take care.